Children's fables, as they are often told today, come from a place of well-meaning revisionism. These are fairy tales for kids. Shouldn't they be kid-friendly? Well, if you were to ask those who wrote the originals, absolutely not. These stories now try to appeal to innocence and childlike wonder, where the good guys beat the bad guys and every dream becomes reality. But what about those darker dreams? The nightmares that linger after you wake up, that leave you wondering, why did my mind subject me to that? Beneath the surface of these seemingly lighthearted stories, you can find some truly awful stuff. Foxymations is a YouTube channel that used to make stylized VHS Five Nights at Freddy's videos, but has recently dived headfirst into original analog horror. The basic premise is to take the darker side from the origins of fables and stories that feature extreme violence, grotesque imagery, and intense grief, and give them these visuals and a revamped methodology of retelling to truly relish in the evil side of these stories, while simultaneously keeping the overall tone of the videos kid-friendly at the beginning to sort of lure in unsuspecting viewers. And tonight we're going to be trying to understand what makes these videos so effective, and hopefully not getting eaten alive by creatures outside of our own understanding. Foxymations presents Little Red Riding Hood. We open on a claustrophobic little house in the woods. Pay close attention to that tight darkness that pervades the entire video. I adore how this creator instilled that feeling of the world closing in around you in a big open space like the woods. Hey, at least he's smiling. The house almost looks like the Blue's Clues house. Then we're inside a creepy, dimly lit room, seemingly sparse with only a clock, a dresser, and 2 pictures on the wall. Riding Hood's mother appears and begins speaking with a text bubble like she's in an old point-and-click game or interactive graphic novel. Each character has a little profile picture by their speech bubble, and I feel like these are somehow creepier than the actual cartoonish character designs, and it gets even weirder later when those same images start getting manipulated. But I'm getting ahead of myself. I also love the obvious homage to the Walton Files in the art style. I think it works really well with this story. Hey honey, I have some bad news about your grandma. She is sick and needs you to take this basket of candies to her. You know, that relatable moment when your elderly grandma is deathly sick and your first thought is, she needs copious amounts of high fructose corn syrup. And here she is, in her signature red hood and everything. I'm so excited to see this light-hearted take on a classic story. Oh no, Grandma is sick. And how am I going to take a basket of candies at this hour? Asking the real questions. I don't know, but she needs you to take them to her. She's very sick. Okay, Mom, I'll take it to her. Where's the basket? We cut to a grimy-looking wicker basket of candy as Mom says the basket is on the table. You can take it. Okay! There's a bit of text manipulation here, emphasizing her enthusiasm. Enthusiasm that only makes what is going to come so much worse. She takes the basket and starts to leave, but is stopped by her mother, who says with a smile, "Be careful, daughter, and under no circumstances talk to strangers." Okay, Mom, Riding Hood responds, again seemingly very cheerful at the prospect of heading out alone into the woods at night, and then she's off. Now what's fun about this series is the almost sadistic nature of it. The moral of the original Little Red Riding Hood story, as I remember it, is not to trust or even talk to strangers. Red makes many mistakes, including talking to the wolf, revealing important personal information, and stopping to fool around picking flowers in a field for several hours. And then the rest of the tale is just cautionary dramatics intended to scare children into doing the right thing. But this version of it is extremely different. Red is immediately in a bad situation because of her mother deciding the middle of the night is prime long journey through the woods time. And as you'll see, the wolf doesn't really trick her. She's just in an impossible situation and we have to watch, paralyzed, as she tries to outmaneuver something wildly more cynical, cunning, and stronger than she is. Oh my god, it's very dark out here. Lucky I have a flashlight. I need to hurry before something happens to Grandma. The screen distorts and fades to this thing here. This abstract image again reminds me of a point-and-click style game, and it appears multiple times to show viewers where the main characters are in relation to each other. Right now, Red is alone on the map. Then we cut back. Agonizingly slowly, she creeps forward, before stopping and staring at the bloodied corpse of a monstrous bear. I love the choice of a bear for this part, because a bear is normally this massive creature that can tear pretty much anything in the woods to shreds. Most people familiar with this story are expecting a wolf, which historically would be unable to defeat a bear, much less leave one in this state, with its eye clawed out, leaving a cavernous hole behind. Whatever did this must be extremely strong and very violent. What's this? Dead animals? Stopping, she looks around wildly, seeing more of the dead creatures, and eventually stops on a rabbit with an eye hanging out of a bloody socket, its fur sticky with drying blood, the stench of death filling the air around her. But this rabbit is different because it speaks.
He did it. You need to run. Get out of here as fast as you can. Go now.
Okay, so, I hated that. The way it moves is so uncanny. When I originally started watching this, I was lulled into a false sense of security by the cartoony, childish appearance of, everything. But this thing got me to really, actually lean back away from the screen before kind of laughing uncomfortably at the stupid voice of the thing. It's so simple and yet very effective nightmare fuel. We cut back to Red in the abstract, still alone in the darkness. But after a few seconds, the wolf makes his appearance. Aw, he's kinda cute. I'm sure it'll be normal. Don't talk to strangers. Suddenly, eerie reversed music fades in and speeds up as the wolf rapidly approaches Red, overtaking her. We cut back to Red and her flashlight, only now the wolf looms in the background. He's right behind me, isn't he? She looks behind her, and... I love how the artist uses extreme saturation and high contrast images to make the texture of their work more intense. It's such a smart way to add visual dynamics, and it's really effective for being so simple. The sound design is creepy as well, with more glitching effects and this grainy static throughout the entire video. Get out. The wolf begins doing a dance as he speaks.
Hello, little girl. What are you doing at this forest at this time?
We cut to a shot of the forest, which looks horrifying, and then Red appears on screen to ask, "Who are you?" The wolf responds,
I'm just a wolf. Where are you going, little girl?
God, I hate his movements. The erratic flopping about mixed with the toothy grin is so unsettling. We cut back to Red, but for a split second, her profile image next to the text box changes with a buzzing sound. A twisted smile painted on a crying face. But then, just as quickly as it appears, it returns to normal. My mother told me not to talk to strangers. Text box disappears, but the text remains a second too long. Weird. There's a split-second jump scare where Red looks directly into the camera, almost pleading for help with her eyes, and then we're back to hear the wolf's response.
But you can trust
His
me.
eyes narrow, the smile changes, all the friendly elements turn evil as the flashlight illuminating his form flickers. Red can't believe what she's seeing. I'm just going to my grandma's house. She's sick and needs me. I know my mom literally told me not to talk to strangers. Hell, I just reminded myself of this like 3 seconds ago. But I think what makes the most sense for me right now is to tell you everything about myself. You want my social security number too? How about my credit card information? How about my street address? And his form twists into a weird swirl as he grins blankly into the screen with violence written on his face. We cut back to static and slowly see the face of the wolf appear in the white with dead, empty eyes. I'll take care of Grandma. Trust me. Trust me. The eyes change again. High-pitched piano plays while we watch the map appear. And who could have seen this coming? The wolf reaches Granny's house far ahead of Red. He arrives and his shadow looms over the building as he slowly approaches and knocks. We cut inside. Granny has a picture of Red's house mounted on the wall, complete with its signature moon. However, it's blue? Obviously, we can't be certain of the significance, but I believe there is some. Is it possible that we are seeing the story through Red's eyes and the world looks different to her? The wolf might represent something or someone that Red is visualizing as a literal predator. This could explain the house colors being different, but that's just a theory. A film theory! Granny appears. Who is knocking on my door at this hour? Crazy how she obviously didn't even request this midnight candy run. Makes you think the real bad guy might even be the mom. I hope it's my granddaughter bringing me candy, she says with a knowing smirk, completely disregarding what I just said and making me look like an idiot. Great job, Granny! You're freaking 0 for 2 now! The knocks at the door continue and she calls out, "Who's there?" Then we're looking at the outside door from the perspective of the wolf, as his mystery voice calls out in a high-pitched caricature of Red's voice, an imitation that immediately tricks Granny. "It's your granddaughter, Grandma." Granny slowly opens the door, and then her smile fades. "Hello?" We switch to Granny's perspective, and the outline of the wolf's awful eyes and oddly realistic human teeth slowly come into focus. Then he attacks, flashing red as her body is mauled. We can smell the blood, see the massive claw marks, and as her jaw goes limp, she weakly yells out, "Don't come here," seemingly trying desperately to protect Red if she can, but it's no use. We watch more powerful visuals, thick with implied violence, and see a hideous glimpse of Granny's broken and battered corpse before cutting to the text, "He will find you." And then static. One thing I find interesting about the series is the use of realistic backgrounds for the woody locations, and here we take that to the next level as the artist brings us into the perspective of Red herself as she stumbles along through the dark forest. This section is actually live action video, and it enhances the fear factor for me. We started with cartoonish and familiar looking designs and simple backgrounds, but then as we descend into the evils lurking just beneath the surface, everything gets progressively more textured, more gory, more violent, and more realistic. I need to hurry before something happens to my grandma. That wolf was scary. Where did he go? So now she's worried about the wolf. Might have been a helpful defensive response back before she told him her grandmother was nearby, but what do I know? Suddenly she stops and looks ahead as the color drains from the surrounding forest, leaving nothing but darkness. Aw, she seems sad. The wolf appears behind her, along with the words, "Don't look back." Does this mean the wolf came all the way back to mess with her, or is this just the shadow of the memory of him, the creature which stalks her waking nightmares? Her breaths come quicker and shallower. We can hear the deafening rustle of leaves underfoot. The light swings wildly and erratically, until finally, after a few seconds of tense escalation, it swings to illuminate the wolf, who by this point looks like a demon. Don't rush, little girl. Things have already happened. There is no salvation for her. The text stretches as we hear more of that cursed buzzing noise, and as the words stretch, a gruesome image fades in. Awful stuff, man. Red reaches her destination. I finally arrived at Granny's house. I can hide from that wolf here with her, but why is the door open? This leads us to another live action sequence, this one from inside the house. Everything looks more real, from the gold patterns on the blue walls to the picture of a tall, creepy figure. Why is Grandma's house so dark? And where is Grandma? She keeps searching in vain, eventually shining her light into a window where she can see the wolf outside. It doesn't attack her immediately, though, and pulls back, allowing her to find a single white door and slowly open it, looking for somewhere to escape. I need to hide before that thing finds me. Notice there's no more pretense in calling this a wolf. It's a thing. A monster. I hope Grandma is behind that door. Inside, it's dark and cramped. A weird smell wafts through the room. Red calls out, "Hey, Granny, I brought you a basket of sweets. Where are you?" She shines her light around the room, her hands trembling. Granny?
Come closer. 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 Come closer.
What at first appeared to be a granny at full HP is in fact a rotting corpse covered in claw marks and bites. Red looks traumatized, and honestly, who wouldn't be in this situation? The creature stands up from behind Granny's dead body.
The ring is gone. Now it's your turn.
You cannot escape. Her face changes to this uncanny monstrosity as the background turns a rusty red color. You can't hide from him, Mom. He will find you. And we cut back to the mother, who is smiling, completely unaware of her family's fate. And then the wolf slowly slides into view from beneath the window. The story of Little Red Riding Hood is a fairly well-known Charles Perrault fable, but this retelling is really cool because it takes most of the stuff that made the original dark and messed up and makes it as scary as possible while retaining none of the original message. The only thing that I would ask is, why didn't we bring the worst part of the story to life? You know, how the wolf kills the grandmother and then wears her skin to trick Red into coming closer? But Grandma, why do you have such sharp teeth? All the better to eat you with, my dear. Why was that part cut? I have no idea. A bunch of people were requesting this on Instagram and Twitter, so thank you to the people who showed this to me, as I was completely unaware of it before. If you want to tell me random things, keep up to date with my projects and activities, just generally enjoy stalking people, come on down and follow me in these places. There will be links or @ somewhere. It's probably stuff in the description too. I don't know. Also, there are 2 more videos in the Analog Horror series so far, so let me know if you want me to continue and talk about more of them, because they're really cool. I like them a lot. I would enjoy going over more of them. Just remember, you're always in charge. Also, stay tuned for next week when we're going to be covering mouthwashing. That's a running gag now. Every week we're just going to be covering mouthwashing. Okay, huge thank you to the Nido Mosquito Enablers over on Patreon. The last 6 months of 2024 were super rough on here, and the Patreon page helped me pay my editors and keep going, so thank you for supporting the channel. It really does help, and it means a lot, and I want you to know that. So thank you to Amelia, Boris, Panflute, Thomas, Audrey, Justin, Lou, Ray, ZK, Tom, Dave, Elkie, Stardrop, Nude, George, Joseph, and Mr. Fox. See you in the next transmission.